So, quick overview on Ensim. In the orchestration and automation space, we work with a lot of service providers, cloud providers, enterprises to quickly enable them to offer cloud services and jump into this IT as a service game. The solution is a complete end-to-end solution. You see the different modules down there. The solution is modular, although we do sell it as a suite. If required, we could sell it in the different modules for the parts and pieces that are required for the specific environment that we're talking about. We're going to talk and focus today around the hypervisors and hypervisor support and enabling infrastructure as a service. But one of the powerful things about the platform is not only does it do that, which is really the fundamental service that makes up the cloud today, is the infrastructure as a service and the variety of hypervisors. But one of the key things about the Ensim solution is that it's an open solution. It's an open catalog through which anything can be sold or offered. There's many solutions out there that can have multiple hypervisors today and may even have a catalog for that, but they're limited in that they can only offer virtual machine type solutions. The service providers and others we work with, they want to have a single catalog to offer a whole array of offerings, whether they be cloud-based, physical-based services, and you can see down here we have some, things like pizza and office supplies and handsets and physical goods. This enables a one-stop shop, a single catalog through which everything can be tracked, ordered, and managed for the service provider as well as for the at the customer level. I'll go to full screen here. If that causes a problem for anybody, let me know. So one of the core things to think about here, especially as we focus on the service provider market, is the difference in what Ensim is enabling on top of the solutions that are out there versus the native tools that you might get from a Microsoft, a VMware, and a lot of the other folks that are empowering the virtual machine environment. And if we take out, Microsoft and the other popular tools out there, and a quick reminder too, if you're not talking, if you don't mind going on mute, that'd be great. It helps out the other folks on the line from a quality perspective. And so here we just have a quick overview of the differences here. And most of the solutions provided by these software vendors out there are really focused on enabling the IT professional. They're very technical tools. They go very deep into the solution to enable all kinds of capabilities. But the audience and the set for that is the IT team at that organization. So it's going to be a limited set of people within the group. Where when we look at the same use case from a service provider window, there's a lot of different and additional capabilities required that are not native to these solutions typically. Multi-tenancy and multi-channel go-to-market being two of the big ones. Most of the tools are native for the internal enterprise IT team. They're not meant to be consumed externally. So they don't have multi-tenancy. They don't have the white label ability. They don't have the direct sales and channel enablement, agent enablement, wholesale enablement like concepts built into them. We talked about the open catalog, and most one of the significant things we found in working with the service providers is that the end users need a simplified interface, where the native tools are very deep and meant for a technically astute person. The public cloud is going to a whole variety of people in a wide world. The tools need to be simple, easy to use, and straightforward. And we'll go through and show how we accomplish all those. Of course, to make it a cloud solution, rating, usage tracking, billing, and invoicing has to be there. And it needs to be built with the masses in mind, not just the IT folks. So a lot of those capabilities are typically not inherent in the solutions that are out there today that are going up to the cloud. They're not inherent in the management solutions. And this is one of the core things that Ensim brings to the table, sitting on top of those. So we're going to walk through each of the modules, and I'm just going to put these up for a few seconds here. Sorry, it's hopping. So you can take a quick look through the bullets and things, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about these because we're going to go in and just walk through this from a live demo perspective. The customer experience can start here with the App Store, the marketplace, the place where they come to see what that provider has to offer. And they're typically looking for a wide range of offerings to make sure that the provider they pick is somebody who they start with today with maybe an offering or two and grow down the road in the future as they move more and more services to the cloud. So we'll walk through the App Store, the Marketplace module, which will then lead us into the Service Catalog. Once the user finds the solution they're looking for, they go into the Service Catalog, and this is where they can configure their order and have it purchased. And from here, the end user, your customer, can manage everything. They can place orders, upsize, downsize. You can have trials and promotions. They can check their bill, pay their bill, check their current usage. So everything they need to do can be managed, ordered, and front end and back end from within the Service Catalog here. So this is where your customers will be, and also with it's the same interface that you'll log into to administrate. So everything that you need to do as a service provider in managing the portal is done from an administrative UI portal. There's no programming or coding that needs to take place to do anything that we're going to go through today. Once the applications are provisioned and up and running, you need a way to enable the customers to self-manage them. One of the core tenets of any cloud solution is that there's automation, there's self-service, there's usage, tracking, rating, and billing. So to put a solution up there like the virtual machines, you then need a way to give the end customer a simplified way to manage those virtual machines. And when you go further into the IT as a service solution, start offering things like unified communications or backup or email services, these need to be managed at the application layer, and you need to manage at the organizational and end user layer. So just like any popular software as a service like a Salesforce, you expect it to come up and running, and you expect a simplified interface to be able to manage the day-to-day onboarding, offboarding of users, etc. And these are the types of things that Ensim provides out of the box for a wide array of solutions. The core one we're talking about today is, of course, at the hypervisor level. The Ensim platform is agnostic. It supports a growing variety of hypervisors out there. The VMware suite, we have connectors to both the vCenter as well as vCloud Director, and then also into the Microsoft System Center suite. Via those, we can control their native hypervisors as well as the other hypervisors those platforms support, such as Zen and KVM as well. What we offer on top of that is what you're seeing here, and we'll do in the demo, is a simplified interface. So this interface here, we live by the kind of rule of the 80-20 rule. We're going to expose the 20% of the features that are being used 80% of the time in the simplified interface here. And that will certainly creep and change over time as the market gets more mature, but this is the simple interface that's built for the masses. Another key thing about this is this interface is consistent. So regardless of a hypervisor, whether they're using VMware today and Microsoft tomorrow and Zen the next day, from an operational standpoint, this simplified interface will be the one that the customer uses. So operationally, there'll be minimal impact or little change or disruption from their day-to-day environment. Now, another key thing about the way that this has been designed is that you can manage from the Ensim interface, the simplified interface, or the native interface. We don't restrict you from just going through ours. So the way this has been designed is pretty unique in that customers and end users can use the native or the Ensim interface here, the simplified one. And if more advanced capabilities or tasks or some of the deeper things are requested or required, the service provider's IT staff or even select customers, if set up correctly, can then go in and access the native tool itself, go right into vCloud Director or even vCenter, which of course gives you access to all of the native capabilities of VMware. So all the capabilities are there and available. The design criteria for us is really what do we expose, what are the right ones to expose to the simplified interface for the day-to-day user. But again, the IT staff could go in natively, have access to the native tool to get all the functionality required. So it's an either-or situation, not that you're limited to just one interface. This is a quick overview of the platform, and the Ensim Automation Suite, you can see in the blue box here, it can be standalone. You can launch very quickly. It has all its own capabilities to be launched as a standalone solution. However, typically, the system is in orange, the external systems, Ensim, are ones that are existing at the service provider that we're going to have to integrate to. So this is a common occurrence. We deal with a lot of mid and large tier telcos. They have many existing systems, billing, CRM, identity management, and the platform itself is very open, has an API and SDKs to integrate into these different environments. We have a lot of experience in doing that, but the platform can be standalone. So what this enables in a lot of situations is a quick launch if required, and then we can integrate over time into a variety of systems. So that said, what we're going to do next is jump into the demo, and I'll walk through those capabilities in a live demo here. So we're going to start first with the marketplace. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this is our demo system, so everything here is configurable. The branding, the colors, the logos. It's our demo system, so we've kept it with the Ensim logo. But everything here can be modified to fit your look and feel and highly customized. And again, it's a multi-channel solution. So if you know Ensim is selling these solutions directly, and I have Ken as a reseller, Ken can get his own marketplace with his own logo and offer up what he wants to offer. That might be different from what the telco is offering. He can resell the services that I have to offer, but he can also put in, you'll see down here, the physical offices, or maybe he does local house calls or sells local laptops to the local community. Those types of things can also be put into his catalog and customized for sale in the local region. It'll be physical good delivery, but it also helps differentiate him from the other VARs that are out there. So once I go in, I can click on an offering, and I can see the different offerings, read the features and benefits about it. And this is really, you know, the App Store experience where the customer comes through to look at the different offerings, read about them, learn about them, and then ultimately select what they want to buy and go through and configure that. So here in the VMware offering, this provider or our demo, we have 2 different offerings up. I can read about the features and benefits of virtualization in VMware. Now, all this material is, again, can be customized by you. We're happy to provide it, but it's however you want to position and sell this in the market. Of course, you do all the price points and things along those lines as well. You can compare offerings, see them side by side, etc. So once I've gone through and found the right offering that I want to buy, I'm going to go in and just click the Buy Now button. And what that'll do is take me right into the service catalog. Now, I already had credentials and signed in, and it takes me right to the configuration screen to configure a virtual data center. So there's a couple different ways to buy infrastructure in the cloud these days. You can buy individual templates. Give me a specific virtual machine template with 2 ways, 8 gigs of RAM, and Windows 2012 on it. You can buy that specific template. Or what we're seeing more and more trending is buying the virtual data center. And you buy a virtual data center based on capacity. So I'm going to configure this data center for my needs here. And as I go through and configure it, you can see the pricing updates and translates live on the right-hand side, so I can make sure this is going to fit into my budget here. And what this is going to do is build out and reserve a virtual data center for me, inside of which I can then go and manage and launch virtual machines and anything else I want to manage. So the first screen will always be the configuration screen, and the rest of this is going to be a purchasing process. Now, this can be customized to meet any workflow with any provider we're working with. This is, again, just how we have it set up. We have it set up for a PO order purchase, but this can be credit card or any other methodology that you might take for your purchases. And then we'll get a confirmation screen where I can review and edit anything, and then I can add it to my cart. And what happens when I add it to the shopping cart is that kicks off a approval workflow that you get to design, whatever the right flow is for you. So that can go back to the service provider to review the order, make sure it looks good, edit or change the order if you want to. And once that order is approved, we then go reach out, in this case, to vCloud Director or vCenter, talk to their APIs, do the provisioning, have it set up. Once that provisioning is complete, we get the we get the credentials back on the information on that data center. And then we follow through and send out the welcome email, the credentials, the login, the next steps, and we start tracking the usage so we can do the rating and billing. So that's the experience for a customer ordering and walking through ordering a virtual data center. Very straightforward and meant to be very simple. And once they're inside the catalog here, they can jump back to go back to the marketplace, or they can stay in the catalog to order additional solutions. And just as a point here, you can see the variety of different categories we have in the catalog. Now, again, these are all what we have in our demo system, completely customizable. You can pick the category. You go into a category, and you have different offers. And again, these are all customized by the provider as well. So you can see the openness of the catalog lets you offer a wide range of services, many of which can be fully automated and self-served. And then other things down here, like we talked about, selling hard goods like physical phones or even fast food, just to highlight that really anything can be sold through the catalog, giving your customers a single experience for purchasing and you a single experience in managing all the different things they might be buying from you. I could go in here. I ordered a VMware data center before. I go in here and order a Microsoft Hyper-V based data center now as well. And again, the experience is going to be pretty much identical to the previous one. We've set these plans up a little bit differently, and you get to customize all these, what the items are called, what items are planned, what the pricing, what the rates are. We have very fine-grained control over how you build out a product model on an individual elemental level so that you can price these things exactly as you need to. And again, once I've configured that, the rest of this is identical, the same purchasing process we went through before. So no matter what I'm buying, whether it be physical goods, fast food, or a gadget, the process is going to be, there's always going to be the configuration screen, and this one's very simple. There's only one item, and the rest will be the purchasing process. Other things that folks are commonly doing in the catalog, the two other things you're going to want to do from the simplified interface are manage your virtual machines and manage your account. So one thing real quick is right from in here, they can come and see their current monthly usage and what they're going to owe for the month. So I can come in here, take a look, what's my usage, and we're doing this live based on the different offerings they have. If you're hooked into a credit card gateway or something along those lines, you can have them pay right from the gateway here. And they can even view the bill in detail. So much like your mobile bill, this will say, this is how much you owe. But we're going to be able to give them all the detail of why they owe that much. How much memory, how much disk, CPU, one-time items, maybe some training, some physical goods they bought. All the detail can be provided right from here that adds up to their bill so they can pay that. Now, this can be managed right out of here, or what we do with a lot of the providers as well. This information could also be exported out to an existing billing and invoicing system. So depending on how you go to market and what you currently have in place, you can use this platform, which is turnkey right out of the box, or you have full open access to the database where all this information resides. And this information can be pulled out. You can develop a batch job or something and import this into your current invoicing billing system. So all that's managed right from here. And then let's go into how would we manage that virtual data center that we previously launched here. So in our demo system, we're going to go to the management section, and these are all the different solutions I have purchased from the provider, and I'm given the ability to configure them. So now this is the simplified interface for managing the virtual data center. You can see that this is how much capacity we've bought here previously, and this is how much I'm currently using. So this is a small virtual data center. I only have one virtual machine running in there, and this is a virtual machine, and you're seeing it via the simplified interface. So again, using that 80-20 rule, we're exposing the 20% of the features that are being used 80% of the time. The stop, start, reboot, edit properties, clone, jump into the console. Our next iteration, we're going to enable within the simplified interface multiple virtual LAN management and some other networking capabilities. So this is the baseline simplified interface. And again, this interface will be consistent across all the hypervisors. So regardless of what the customers purchased, they're all running underneath this interface as well. So I can modify the properties here, manage my snapshots, everything that they're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. Now, since I have a small VDC here, maybe I need to add more capacity. Now, there's lots of different ways to price a VDC. You can do pay per use, where there's no caps or limits, or you can do a fixed capacity, which this one is. So they've bought X amount of fixed capacity, and I'm going to enforce that and won't let them go over that. So if I need to launch 4 or 5 more virtual machines, I know it's not going to fit into my current capacity purchase. So I can go right here and upsize my VDC. And what that'll do is it'll take me right back to the order. I can add more capacity right into that order, finish off the purchasing process, and once that's approved, or if that's automatically approved, I'll immediately get back to that and have additional capacity to use within the environment there. So that way there's a quick and easy way to upsize for the customer to continue on with what they're doing in a completely automated way. They'll get that additional capacity and be able to manage that going forward as well. So they can upsize, they can downsize, and all this is configurable when you set up the offerings and how you want to design your virtual data center. Templates, so launching a new machine, it's template-based. So any template that is loaded into vCenter, we will see. It gets pulled into here. We have a few templates in here to see. We can go select one. And then it's just a simple 4-step process to go through. We have to put in a little bit of information. You can assign roles and rights to the virtual data center. I'm going to show you that in 1 second here. This is the template we chose. If I want to, I can go and tweak and adjust that a little bit before it gets fired up here. I can add an IP address if I need a public IP. Otherwise, it'll be a private IP that will be assigned inside my VLAN. If I need this to be publicly accessible, we'll assign a public IP. And then that's it. I'll create the VM that will be launched into the VDC that we're running and managing there, and then I can go in and manage that. So very quick to launch. The template management in there to launch into the available templates. And then there's the user management concepts in here too as well. So in my users, not everybody in the organization is going to have the ability to purchase from the catalog. There's some, day-to-day or new users that can just be assigned roles and rights but not make a financial transaction. So as a development manager, I might have bought a VDC, but I need to assign one of my employees, John Dixon here, I need to assign him a role so that he can go in there and use that VDC. So I can assign him a service. And for this service, I can, once I give him assign a password, I can assign him a specific role that's predefined for that VDC. So you can then go in and maybe it's a read-only role or a super IT admin role where you can do anything. But essentially, I, as a manager, can buy a large VDC, and then I can have sub-VDC administrators, and I assign the roles and rights to them as I see fit for my team. So we go down into the user management level, and then John will get a welcome email and have the credentials to log in and start using the interface. And he'll only see a very simplified interface here to do the management of the virtual machines. So I can sub-assign that down, and as you move into other services that go up the stack into unified communications, email, backup, collaboration, things that are organization and user-based, you need to have the ability to manage and assign those roles and rights at the organization and user level. And those concepts are built right into the Ensim system. So if you go for an email type solution, which is becoming very popular to move to the cloud, once they've purchased it, you need to wait for the organization to manage it and add users to it. And again, all that's done from this interface here so that you can assign users, assign them mailboxes. If you're doing PBXs and phones, assign them a direct dial number, voicemail, all gets assigned right through here. So that is the, the main areas of management, the user management, the virtual machine management, and the roles and rights assignment for the virtual infrastructure. As you can see, we're supporting in here Microsoft, VMware. We're just coming out with Amazon, and we're going to the public cloud offerings as well. And again, even the ordering of these types of solutions from your end customer perspective are going to look identical and exactly the same. Now we've we've made these plans a little bit different because we've just designed them differently to show different capabilities. Where this has a volume-based tiering plan. Some of these can be volume-based, some of these are fixed and tiered. And again, you get to design all this on a, when you're designing out the product model, so you can be as competitive as you need to, be as specific as you need to. We can, of course, do a gold, silver, bronze type plan, but we also give you the ability to manage at an elemental level what type of pricing model and price plan do you want for each of the different components within there. All right, what else do I want to highlight here? So the last thing I'm going to do is log in quickly at the administrative level. We're not going to go too deep here, but I do want to highlight that everything that we were just doing here is managed at an admin level from a user interface at the service provider level. So at the service provider level, you'll get to see all the different organizations, add agents and resellers, all that's done directly from here. Adding a new reseller is it's a 2-3-step process, really as simple as filling out the information, going through the rest of this, assigning a user, and then that you'll have a reseller onboarded. They'll have their own storefront, their own app store. They'll also get their own full service catalog like the one we're seeing here. So the reseller, also the catalog that I just showed you, would have their own catalog, own branding, own colors, logos, and all that kind of stuff, and they can put in the catalog any of the offerings that you've allowed them to, and any local offerings that you've also allowed them to. So not only are you letting them resell, but you're getting them a full app store billing, invoicing engine to run their business, which is a very powerful proposition as opposed to just saying, sure, you can resell my stuff. You're saying, sure, I'm going to give you a way to run your business. Not only for the things that I'm enabling you to resell, but if you sell computers locally and training and consulting and you want to bill, manage, and track that through the system, I'm going to enable you to do that. In the catalog, this is where you would build new offers. Okay, so there's a lot of buttons and things to set up here, but once you've gone through this, no more than a half day of training, you'll be able to create offers on the fly in 10 or 15 minutes. These are the different categories you saw over there. These are some of the different offerings in that catalog. I'm just going to move pretty quickly through this. But just to show that to create a brand new offering, all you need to do is go and fill out each of the templates here and set this up. And once you're done with that, you'll have a new offering in place. So there's nothing technical here. Where a lot of people do get tripped up is thinking about, how do I want to offer this? What am I charging per gigabyte? Is it a fixed price? Is it a sliding scale? Is there a volume discount? Am I going to allow them to upsize or downsize? Should there be a promotion or a trial period? So those types of things have to be answered in here. But once the forms are all filled out, and once all the pricing detail and configuration, here's each of the individual line items, the type of pricing plan. So again, it's not a technically difficult job, but it is a product management job to figure out how you want to model and price all this stuff in the field. Notifications, welcome letters, status on provision can all be set up. And once this is set up, that will be launched into the catalog. And our catalog is also integrated with the marketplace. So you have one place to go to add a solution, and it'll be published to the marketplace, the app store we saw, as well as the catalog. And if it's an existing offering and maybe you're just changing the price, you only need to come and do this, change the price in one location, and then that'll be populated to everything else. Orders, you can see here. Another thing that's been pretty popular too is that depending again how you go to market, some of the telcos and service providers talk to the clients and do the configuration of an order for them. So some clients enable the self-service, some self-service and talk to an agent. The agent will build out the quote for you using a similar interface. And the agent can have a login to the administrative interface, again, which have very few roles and rights, not what you're seeing here, but a very limited view. But I could come in as an agent, build out a quote, and then I can generate that quote once it's built for my customer into a template PDF. This is just an example one. You can make this anything you want. And then that could be emailed to the customer for review, for signature, and they can sign off on that. And once they've signed off on the quote, then we can go into an approval phase where that would be provisioned, set up, and automated, etc. So you can have that and have agents manage that. And all the configuration options that you need to go through for the system are built in right here. One thing to highlight is that especially roles and rights management is key, especially for the service provider, especially as you go into large-scale sales and multi-tier sales through your self-direct agents, resellers. So every single capability within the system and within the platform can be turned on or off. And there are basically categories in here. So you'll see all the different things. So maybe I hire a person who just manages resellers. So I'm going to turn on the reseller category. So when this person logs in under this role, they will only see these capabilities dealing with the resellers. And maybe I don't even want him to be able to, I don't want him to delete or edit resellers. I just want him to be able to add and manage them. So this person could add new resellers, do some management, but if a reseller is leaving or wants to change, that has to go to somebody at a higher role level. So we have very fine-grained control over the roles and rights. So you have the right people logging in, seeing the right things at the right time, so they can manage the business correctly. So everything that you need to do at a provider level is going to be done here. One last thing about the catalog, which we have already highlighted, is that the catalog is open, meaning that many of these things that we have connectors for, like the VMware and infrastructure, Hyper-V, a lot of the Microsoft components will be automatically provisioned and managed. But the catalog can also put in office supplies, physical goods, or even like an SAP, which maybe down the road, if that's a high-volume offering, you can go through the integration point and make it fully automated. But you can also just take an order, track that order, bill an invoice for that order, and then provision it manually behind the scenes. So depending on the volume of the order, what type of service it is, not everything has to be automated. So you can have, what we have some providers selling Link today, or IP-based PBX. They sell the telephone line, and they want to sell the phone and a Bluetooth headset along with it. And they combine that into a bundled order. Part of that order is automatically fulfilled, provisioned, and set up, and the other part is physically sent out to the customer. But they had a single experience, a single way to manage it, and have the single customer experience for that whole experience. So that is the quick walkthrough of the user experience, the infrastructure as a service. There's a few questions that came in, so I'm going to go through and answer those questions at this point. If there's any more, we could all come off mute, maybe try to coordinate that one at a time and answer any questions. But let me go through here and see what questions we might have here. Somebody asked to make my screen full screen, so I did that hopefully a while ago. Which payment processors are supported by your system? Out of the box, we have the connectors to anything on that's PayPal supported, and then one other one that I'm blanking out right now. So one of the other major portal gateways that gets you to many of them. There's 40 or 50 different payment gateway providers out there. We chose the two most popular ones that were in demand, the PayPal one being one, and one other one. It'll come to be in a minute or two, and I'll throw it out there. But the other ones, we have the framework for that. It's all set up in the system. So if there's a third-party one that is not the ones that we support out of the box, we can, of course, work with you to integrate into that and get that tied in. The other question was, is on-premise evaluation available? And it's a good point. This, to be very clear, this is software. I can run this and host it as a managed service for you, but Ensim is a software company. We primarily sell this as software. It goes on-premise into our customers' environments. They typically have data centers, and they want their infrastructure and their resources being consumed. So we would put the software on-site for you. We do POCs, so we would need to talk about that and go through some qualification around that. But if everything looks good and the capabilities are aligned, we could launch this whole thing. Let's say you're looking at a VMware solution. I could send you a VMDK with the entire solution bundled on it that you could quickly spin up, change a few IPs, and have running in your environment so you can kick the tires. That's not how you want to go to production with it. You'd want to separate this out. We're primarily a Java-based application, so we have a web front end and application layer and a database. So you'll pull those apart into various configurations. Everything can run on virtual machines and is very horizontally scalable. So as you have more and more traffic on the front end or more processing logic, you can just scale horizontally, add more and more web and app servers, and add the DB. When is MS Azure going to be available and supported for infrastructure as a service? And let me answer that kind of the proper way I answer that today, because you see it in the catalog. It's in the catalog today and can be ordered and purchased today, right? But it is not automatically fulfilled. So you can take the order, swivel chair around, type it into Azure, and then send out the welcome email so you can track it. So in that sense, it's supported. We will have full automation into Azure probably in Q3 is where we're focused right now. We're doing AWS first because we see more demand in the market for AWS. And as Azure is getting going and getting more and more traction, that'll follow on. So that would probably be middle to late Q3 when it's fully supported end-to-end. But just following on the previous statement, you can put in the catalog and sell it today, and bill, invoice, and track against it, and the automation will come in Q3. So I appreciate those questions. Are there any other questions, or does anybody want to come off mute and ask anything, or do I need to clarify anything? This is meant to be a quick high-level walkthrough so you kind of get the visual. We are, of course, happy to follow up at any time and do a deeper dive with you or learn more about your requirements and see how they might tie in here. We're all, we are in the business of helping you sell more things more quickly, and that is how, you're successful, and we are very much tied to you. We have a pay-per-use model. There's a platform fee, and then once the platform is in, we scale up as you scale up. So the more you sell, obviously the more successful you are, as are we. So we're very aligned from a model perspective. You could launch a VMware-based solution or a Microsoft-based solution, within 2 to 3 weeks, very, very quickly, get that going in the market, and then quickly move up the stack into where the market's going, which is IP as a service. Certainly virtual machines are very popular. That's a core part of the market. But many of the medium businesses out there are looking for the complete service. Give me the email. Give me the unified communication. Give me backup. They don't want just the raw infrastructure. They want the outcome. They want the service. And our platform enables you to sell those, get fully into the IT as a service space, fully automated, and fully self-managed by the customer, all from the single interface here. So we'd be glad to follow up and go into more of those capabilities as required as well. So I'm gonna, could you provide a link to the recorded? Yeah, when we're done here, we'll probably put this up on YouTube in a few days, so I'll get that out to you so you could share that around. Feel free to call back again with any questions or if you want a deeper dive. I'm gonna have 15 seconds of awkward silence for any other questions you might want to type in, and if there aren't any after that, we'll conclude the session. All right, well, I got a couple thank yous, but no questions, so I appreciate it. Thanks for attending. We'll follow up with posting this when it goes to YouTube, and look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Thanks.